My friends, my fellow students and seekers on the path, it is our custom to turn away from the noise of the world for a few precious moments, to quiet the incessant questioning of the mind, and to come into this conscious, living silence. For it is not in the clamor of human reasoning, but in this sacred quiet that the word of God is heard. We come here not to add to our burdens, but to lay them down, not to seek a power from without, but to awaken to the power that has always been within. You have come today seeking an answer to the impossible. You have come with a problem that has no human solution, a mountain that will not move by your own strength. And the world tells you to believe harder, to strive more, to beg and plead with a distant God. But I am here to tell you that you have been misled. The instruction to believe God for the impossible is not an invitation to fervent prayer for a changed outside world. It is a command to recognize a spiritual fact, that what you call your life is, in truth, the very life of God individualized as your being. The impossible situation that stands before you is not a solid wall, but a shadow cast by your own belief in a power apart from God. What if I told you that the very concept of the impossible exists only in the realm of your five senses? What if the only thing required to walk through that shadow is to stop believing it is a wall? Stay with me in the minutes to come, and we will go on a journey. We will leave the shore of human conviction and step out onto the waters of pure faith, not faith in something, but faith as the very substance of our being. We will discover why the very moment you feel you are stepping into the void is the very moment you are stepping onto the rock of reality. But this is not a truth to be merely heard, it is a truth to be lived and demonstrated. Your own experience will be the final proof. If this message stirs something within you, if it calls you to a higher form of living, then like this video, comment the number 7, symbolizing the day of completion of God's finished work. Subscribe to this channel, for we are but fellow travelers, and this is a path we walk together, unfolding new dimensions of the impossible made possible in every shared moment. Of course, here is the expansion of your first keynote, continuing seamlessly from the previous introduction and crafted in the style of Joel S. Goldsmith. We will discover why the very moment you feel you are stepping into the void is the very moment you are stepping onto the rock of reality. You see, the entire world lives by what we can call sense testimony. It lives by the report of the eyes, the ears, the feelings. It looks at a bank account and declares a verdict. It receives a diagnosis and accepts it as final truth. It surveys a broken relationship and sees only a permanent chasm. This is the world of the possible and the impossible, a world built entirely on the shifting sands of external evidence. This is the world that says, this can be and that can never be, and we, until we awaken, accept these verdicts as law. But I must tell you, on the authority of the Master, that this sense testimony is a lie. It is not the truth of your being, nor is it the reality of God's creation. The impossible situation that looms so large in your life is, in the realm of spirit, no more substantial than a shadow on the wall. A shadow has no power to bind you. It cannot prevent you from moving. Its only power is the power you give it through your belief that it is solid and real. When you stand before a mountain of lack, of disease, of discord, and you feel its weight, you are believing the report of the senses over the truth of your own being. This is the great metanoia, the revolutionary change of consciousness to withdraw your faith from the outside picture and place it firmly in the unseen spiritual substance. The world says, believe it when I see it. The mystic says, you will see it when you believe it. But I am not asking you to believe in the shadow. I am asking you to turn your gaze to the light which, when recognized, causes the shadow to disappear. You are not called to believe in the mountain, but in the omnipotence of the I Am that you are. Your happiness, your freedom, your entire life experience hinges on this one point. You remain unhappy, you remain bound, only for as long as you consent to the limitations presented by the senses. the moment you withdraw that consent, the moment you silently and inwardly declare, "This is not the truth of God, and therefore it is not the truth of me," you have begun the process of dissolution. You are not fighting the shadow, you are simply turning on the light. Do not try to make the impossible possible. That is the labor of Sisyphus. Instead, recognize its inherent illusory nature. See it for what it is, a suggestion, a temptation to believe in a power apart from God. When you stop empowering the illusion with your attention and your fear, it loses its substance. It may linger for a time in your experience, just as a dream lingers for a moment upon waking, but its power to frighten or control you is gone. You have seen it for what it is. Your work is not to change the world, but to change your consciousness about the world. As you abide in the awareness of the one presence and the one power, the pictures presented by the senses must and will conform to this higher reality. They have no choice, for they have no life of their own. And so, we come to understand that the world of impossible is a phantom, a temporary appearance that has no law to support it. But this understanding alone is not enough to walk on the water. Knowing the shadow is not real does not, by itself, give you the courage to step through it. For that, we must move from the head to the heart, from intellectual agreement to a living embodiment. We must discover the nature of faith. The world has terribly misunderstood this word. It has turned faith into a human activity, something you must do. It says you must muster up enough belief. You must generate a certain feeling. You must convince yourself against all evidence. This is not faith. This is mental effort, and it is exhausting. It is you, the human self, trying to reach up to God. And when the storm rages, this kind of faith is immediately swallowed by the waves, because it is your own creation, and it is as fragile as you are. True faith is not something you do. It is something you vary. It is not an act, but a substance. It is not your belief in God, but God's own life expressing us you. Think of it not as a quality you possess, but as the very ground of your being. You do not need to create it. You only need to stop obstructing it. You do not need to build it up. You need to become transparent to it. This faith is the rock, the absolute certainty of divine being, and it is already established within you as your true identity. When you stand at the edge of your known world, at the brink of what your senses declare is the end, you are not called to generate a feeling of confidence. You are called to be still. You are called to sink beneath the frantic activity of your own mind and rest in the quiet assurance of the I Am. In that stillness, a power begins to rise from within you. It is not yours, it is its. It is a calm, unshakable knowing that needs no external validation. This is the substance of faith. It is the very energy of God, and it is what will move you forward when your legs feel weak and your mind is screaming to turn back. This is why the Master could walk on the water. He was not exercising a personal power. He was so completely one with the Father, so utterly transparent to the divine substance, that the laws of the material world had no authority over him. The water could not sink him because he was not standing on water, he was standing on the reality of God. Your demonstration will happen in the same way. Your mountain will move, not because you shouted at it with great emotion, but because you recognized it as insubstantial, and you yourself stood firmly on the only substance there is. Your happiness, then, is found here. It is found in releasing the burden of being the one who has to make things happen. Your joy is in surrendering the role of the actor and accepting the role of the witness. The witness to the divine activity unfolding as your life. Stop trying to have faith. Instead, be still and know. Let go, let God, and you will find yourself carried by a current of grace so powerful, so intelligent, and so loving that the very concept of the impossible will be washed away, leaving only the endless, joyful, and ever unfolding demonstration of good. Leaving only the endless, joyful, and ever unfolding demonstration of good. And this brings us to the most liberating truth of all, the truth that dissolves the final burden from your shoulders. If faith is not your act, but a divine substance, then the actor in your life cannot be you. We have lived our entire lives under the weight of a mistaken identity, believing ourselves to be the doer, the striver, the one who must overcome. We clench our fists, set our jaws, and try to make our demonstration happen. We speak the word, and then we anxiously watch the horizon, waiting for our own efforts to bear fruit. This is the root of all anxiety, the very source of our exhaustion. I am here to tell you to lay that burden down. Lay it down forever. The revelation that will set you free is this: God is the only actor. There is only one divine consciousness, one infinite life. And it is this consciousness that is the source of all action, all movement, all form. You, in your highest reality, are not a separate self trying to get God to do something for you. You are the very place where God is being expressed as you. You are the individualization of this one life. The pressure is off. The performance is over. Can you feel the relief that comes with that? Can you allow yourself to feel the sheer, unburdened joy of it? You are not responsible for manufacturing your healing, your supply, or your harmony. Your work is one of yielding. Your work is to be a clear, open vessel. It is to stand like Moses before the Red Sea, not with a plan of your own, but with the simple, unshaken expectancy that the one who sent you will also make the way. You are not the wind, you are the sail. You are not the composer. You are the instrument through which the symphony is played. When a challenge appears, your entire focus must shift from "what must I do?" to "what is God being here?" In the face of lack, you turn within and acknowledge, "God is my infinite, unfolding supply," and then you rest. You do not fret about the how or the when. You trust the actor. In the presence of sickness, you abide in the truth. God is the only life, perfect and whole, and this is the truth of my being. And then you rest. You watch with wonder as the one divine consciousness, which formed this body, now reorganizes it into its own perfect pattern. This is not passive, it is the most active state of being, for it is an active surrender to a power that knows no obstacle. It is letting the ocean carry your boat. It is allowing the sun to open the flower. You are that boat. You are that flower. Your happiness is found in the sweet surrender, in the joyous acknowledgement that you are not alone for a single moment. You are the living expression of the only actor there is. Every step you take is God taking a step as you. Every word you speak, when you are in this awareness, is God speaking. Every healing that flows through you is God healing. Let go of the steering wheel and discover the unimaginable joy of being the passenger in a vehicle driven by grace itself. Your only task is to enjoy the ride. This understanding naturally leads to a pivotal moment, a point of decision that every seeker must face. It is the moment where theory meets practice, where the truth we have embraced in the quiet of our meditation must be walked out in the marketplace of human experience. We have laid down the burden of being the actor, and now we must live the consequence of that surrender. We must, as the scripture says, step out from the shore. For too long, your shore has been the familiar ground of your own reasoning, your own past experiences, your own carefully calculated risks. It is the solid, predictable ground of what you know you can handle. It is the safety of the visible. But I tell you today, that shore is a prison. It is the very boundary that has contained your life and defined your limitations. The impossible exists only from the perspective of that shore. To remain there is to remain in the realm of the problem. The solution, the demonstration, the miracle. All of it exists out there, upon the very waves that your senses tell you will swallow you whole. Stepping out from the shore is not a physical action, though it may manifest as one. It is an inner act of supreme confidence in the one actor. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to take your attention off of the terrifying height of the waves and place it irrevocably on the nature of the one who walks. You are not stepping out in confidence in yourself. You are stepping out in the confidence of the Christ, the I Am, that is your true self. This is not a leap in the dark, it is a step into the light of your own realized being. When you feel the impulse to forgive a debt that seems unforgivable, that is your step. When you feel the call to begin a work for which you see no visible means, that is your step. When you choose peace in the midst of chaos, that is your step. When you speak a word of gratitude while standing in the shadow of lack, that is your step. Each one is a declaration. I am no longer bound by the evidence. I am governed by a higher law. You will feel the old consciousness, the human sense of self, pulling you back. It will scream of danger and foolishness. This is the final test. This is the storm. And in that moment, you do not fight the storm. You simply take another step deeper into your conviction that the substance beneath you is God. This is how you live a life of continuous miracle. Not by one grand, dramatic gesture, but by 1,000 small steps of faith, taken one after the other, each one moving you further from the shore of self and deeper into the infinite ocean of divine possibility. With every step, your confidence will grow, not confidence in your ability to walk, but confidence in the solidity of the water on which you walk. You will look back and see that the shore, with all its fears and limitations, has vanished behind you, and before you lies only the horizonless expanse of your own freedom, of course. Here is the expansion of your fifth keynote, continuing the flow and maintaining the contemplative and motivational style. And before you lies only the horizonless expanse of your own freedom. But now a quiet question may arise in the heart. If I am not the one acting, if I am to step out from the familiar shore of my own mind, then who is it that is walking? What is this that remains? This is not a question to be answered with a word, but with a revelation that must dawn upon you. It is the discovery of your true self, a discovery that changes everything. The human mind, the one that has been so anxious, so burdened, believes it is a separate entity living in a body, having a spiritual experience. It sees itself as a tiny isolated drop trying to connect with the vast ocean. From this perspective, life is a struggle. But I am here to tell you that this is the fundamental error. You are not a drop trying to reach the ocean. You are the ocean, conscious of itself as a drop. You are not a separate self trying to get God to help you. Your very being, the very core of what you call, is the individualization of God. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Do not analyze it, feel it. The life that animates your body, the intelligence that orchestrates your heartbeat, the consciousness that is aware of these very words, that is not yours. It is God's. It is the one divine life expressing itself uniquely, exclusively, and perfectly as you. There is no separation. There is only the one appearing as the many. The I am that Moses heard from the burning bush is the very same I am that is your own consciousness. You have never been for a single moment a separate entity navigating a hostile world. You have always been this individualized expression of the divine, forever one with the source. This is the rock. This is the unshakable foundation. When you stand before your impossible situation, you are not a little person standing before a giant. You are the infinite, looking at a shadow of your own belief. The power you have been seeking in prayers and affirmations is not a power you need to acquire. It is the power of what you already are. Your supply is not something God gives you. It is the infinite nature of your own being, flowing as you. Your health is not a condition God imposes on your body. It is the very reality of the life that you are, manifesting as form. So when you take that step of faith, you are not a separate self stepping into the unknown. You are the ocean, rising up to meet yourself. You are the infinite, moving within itself. The confidence you feel is not a manufactured confidence. It is the natural, effortless certainty of a wave realizing it is the ocean. All fear is the fear of a character in a play, forgetting it is an actor. The moment you remember who and what you are, the fear loses its substance. It was only ever a part of the script. You are the actor, the stage, and the play itself, all at once. And in this knowing, you do not solve your problems, you outgrow them. They simply cannot exist in the same space as this realized truth. They vanish, not because you fought them, but because the light of your own self revealed they were never really there to begin with. While they vanish, not because you fought them, but because the light of your own self revealed they were never really there to begin with. And so we arrive at the natural conclusion of our journey, the point where all these principles converge into a single living activity. We have moved from the recognition of the illusion to the embodiment of faith, from surrendering the role of the actor to stepping out in confidence, all based on the unshakable truth of our oneness. But how does this become more than a beautiful philosophy? How does it become a loaf of bread on your table, a restored harmony in your home, a healing in your body? The bridge between the spiritual truth and the human experience is this: demonstration follows realization, not petition. For so long we have been spiritual beggars. We have approached God with a list of requests, pleading for an intervention from a king in a far-off castle. We have prayed, "Oh God, please give me this. Oh God, please change that." This is the prayer of separation, and it can never bring forth a demonstration because it reinforces the very illusion that is causing the problem, the illusion that you are here and God is there. The divine consciousness does not need to be persuaded to be what it already is, all in all. Your good is not something God decides to grant you. It is the inevitable, natural expression of what God is, being itself as you. True prayer, then, is not a request, it is a realization. It is a deep, inner stillness where you consciously let go of the problem and abide in the truth of the solution. You do not ask for supply, you become still and realize, "I am the individualization of infinite supply itself." You do not beg for healing, you become quiet and know, "The perfect life of God is the only life I have, and it is manifesting as wholeness now." In that moment of realization, when your awareness is fully anchored in the spiritual fact and not the material appearance, something shifts in the universe. The outer picture has no choice but to conform. It may take time for the mist to clear, but the sun has already broken through in your consciousness, and the outcome is as certain as the dawn. The healing, the provision, the harmony, they do not come to you. They flow out from you, from the center of your own realized being. They are the evidence, the inevitable demonstration, of the truth you have embraced within. You are not a hollow vessel waiting to be filled. You are the overflowing source. Your entire life becomes this sacred rhythm, going within to the silence, realizing the truth of your being, and then watching with quiet expectancy as that truth clothes itself in form. You are cooperating with the law of your own nature. So, as you move from this moment into the story of your day, carry this one question not as a burden, but as a gentle and hopeful guide. What if the very thing I have been seeking is already alive within me, waiting only for my recognition to set it free?